In 6 months, Nneka has transformed from a struggling, tear-stained roadside caterer into the CEO of Abuja's most exclusive restaurant, Nneka's Pot. Backed by Obinna Nneka's 50 million naira investment, her talent was finally matching her bank account. Inside the bustling, sweet-smelling kitchen, Nneka moved like a general. She wore a pristine white chef's jacket, her face glowing with a confidence she had never known before. But more than the money, Nneka had something she hadn't felt since her mother died. She had peace. Obinna, the billionaire who had once disguised himself as a dirty estate sweeper just to test her heart, was now her rock. Whenever Obinna Nneka walked into a room, raw power followed. Men adjusted their ties. Women turned their heads. But when Obinna's sharp eyes found Nneka at the kitchen pass, the ruthless billionaire disappeared. He walked up to her, ignoring the flower on her apron, and handed her a single, perfect white rose. "You look exhausted, my queen," Obinna said, his voice a deep, comforting rumble as he gently wiped a smudge of spice from her cheek. Nneka sighed, leaning into his touch. "I am terrified, Obinna. I am catering for your company's Pan-African Investors Summit tomorrow. 500 foreign delegates. Kings of industry. If the food is not perfect, if one thing goes wrong, it's my name on the line." Obinna smiled gently. He took both her hands in his. "Your name is protected by my name," he whispered. "You have the purest heart in Abuja, Nneka. Nobody can touch you." But Obinna was wrong. In a city built on politics, money, and greed, enemies do not announce their arrival. They simply wait for the opportunity to come, then they strike, and when they strike hard. Far away from the glittering lights of Wuse 2, a deadly alliance was forming. Chief Obinna had flown in from Lagos. He was a bitter, dangerous man who firmly believed the entire Nneka's family fortune belonged to him. He hated Obinna's mother. He hated Obinna. And now, he despised this common caterer who had stolen his brother's heart. Obinna poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey, taking a slow sip. He didn't offer any to the two trembling figures standing before him. So, Obinna's voice grated like crushed stones. "You are the famous Chika. The arrogant little boy my brother stripped of everything. I hear you lost your tech company, your cars, and your Maitama duplex. I hear you now live in a leaky self-con in Mararaba." Chief Obinna has made his inquiries, got all the details he needed through his widespread network. Chika swallowed hard, looking down at his worn-out shoes. "Obinna ruined my life, Chief. All because I insulted that useless caterer." Obinna's cold eyes darted to Aunt Ngozi. "And you? The greedy aunt who tried to sell her own blood for a few million naira. Now, your niece is a millionaire, and she won't even pick your calls." Aunt Ngozi fell to her knees, dramatic, bitter tears streaming down her face. "Chief, please. Nneka is a wicked child. After all I did for her when she lost her parents. She sits under AC while I suffer in the heat. I want to teach her a lesson she will never forget." Obinna smirked. He placed his glass down and pulled a small, clear vial from his pocket, setting it on the glass table. "Tomorrow is Obinna's summit," Obinna said softly. "He is finalizing a $3 billion foreign investment. And your precious Nneka is handling the food." Chika stared at the vial, his hands trembling. "Chief, is that poison? I will not do murder. The DSS will bury us alive." "Don't be a fool," Obinna snapped. "It is a concentrated, industrial purgative. A severe laxative. Odorless and tasteless. It will not harm anyone permanently. But within 10 minutes of eating it, those foreign dignitaries will experience violent stomach cramps. They will mess themselves in front of the cameras. Obinna's summit will become a global embarrassment, the investors will pull out, and Nneka will be arrested for extreme food negligence. Her business will be destroyed forever." Obinna leaned forward, his eyes locking onto Chika's. "Ngozi knows the kitchen staff. She will create a distraction. You, Chaka, will disguise yourself as a waiter and empty this vial into the VIP serving pots. Do this, and I give you both 50 million naira and a one-way ticket to Dubai. Refuse. And I will make sure the life you are living right now looks like hell. Choose." Chaka and Auntie Ngozi looked at the vial. Greed, jealousy, and revenge clouded their minds. Slowly, Chaka reached out and put the vial in his pocket. The night of the summit arrived. The Imperial Dome was packed with the most powerful men and women in Africa. Inside the Grand Hall, Obinna sat at the head VIP table, projecting absolute billionaire confidence as he spoke with British and Chinese delegates. Backstage, the kitchen was a whirlwind of fire, spice, and shouting. Nneka was in her element. "Move the party jollof to the warming stations," she commanded, wiping her brow. "The special coconut rice is for the VIP table only. Keep your eyes on it. No mistakes." But in the chaos of a kitchen feeding 500 people, a blind spot opened. At the back loading door, a loud wailing erupted. It was Auntie Ngozi. She threw herself on the floor, tearing at her clothes and crying at the top of her lungs. "Nneka, my daughter. Please, forgive me. I have not eaten in 2 days. Security, leave me alone, let me see my daughter." The noise was deafening. The kitchen staff froze. Security guards rushed to the back door to drag her away. Nneka, shocked and embarrassed, hurried over to calm the situation. And in that exact moment, a waiter wearing a face mask and a pulled-down cap slipped past the dishwashers. It was Chaka. His heart was hammering against his ribs. Sweat poured down his face. He darted behind a stack of supplies and located the massive silver cooler tagged VIP head table. Chaka's hand shook violently as he pulled the vial from his pocket. He uncapped it. He looked over his shoulder. The coast was clear. Quickly, he poured the clear liquid into the rich, steamy coconut rice. He grabbed a serving spoon, stirred it deep into the food, dropped the spoon, and vanished through the service corridor just as Nneka returned. "Make Una take the VIP food out," the head waiter shouted. "Them de wait." The food was served. The rich aroma of Nigerian spices filled the luxurious hall. Nneka stood nervously by the edge of the room, her heart swelling with pride as the foreign investors picked up their forks and took their first bites, looked at each other and nodded. One of the investors looked at Obinna and said, "Your wife is indeed the best chef around." They all laughed and continued enjoying the food. Everything seemed perfect. Until, the music was cut short by a horrifying crash. "Help! Call a doctor!" someone screamed. Within seconds, 2 more delegates at the VIP table collapsed, clutching their stomachs, groaning in severe distress. The grand hall descended into absolute madness. Bodyguards rushed the stage. Diplomats were shouting. Nneka froze, the blood entirely draining from her face. "No, no, no, no," she whispered, her hands flying to her mouth, her whole body trembling. "My food was perfect." Before Obinna could even stand up to check on the fallen men, Chief Obinna rose from his seat. He grabbed a microphone from the podium, his voice booming over the panic. "Ladies and gentlemen, look at this absolute disgrace." Obinna shouted, pointing a damning finger at Obinna and Nneka. "This is what happens when a so-called billionaire lets his emotions run his business. He hired a roadside commoner, a gutter caterer, to feed international dignitaries. She has fed our guests contaminated food." Cameras began to flash frantically. Journalists, secretly tipped off by Obinna, rushed forward, recording the disaster. Right on cue, Auntie Ngozi ran into the hall, crying dramatically for the cameras. "I warned Obinna. I told him my niece is a fraud. She uses expired ingredients to save money. Ah, Nneka, you have ruined us." Nneka's knees gave out. She collapsed to the floor, hot tears blurring her vision. The business she built with her sweat, her reputation, Obinna's $3 billion deal, all destroyed in 5 minutes. Obinna walked up to Obinna, leaning in close so only his brother could hear. "I told you, little brother. You cannot mix with the mud without getting dirty. Step down as chairman of the Ease Group tomorrow, and give me my birthright. If you don't, I will make sure your sweet Nneka rots in a maximum security prison for criminal negligence." In the middle of the panic, in the middle of the flashing cameras and the screaming diplomats, Obinna Nneka did not sweat. He did not beg. He began to laugh. The sound was so cold, so terrifyingly calm, that the massive hall slowly fell into a dead silence. Obinna frowned, stepping back. "Have you gone mad, Obinna?" Obinna calmly adjusted his suit jacket. He picked up a clean fork, walked directly over to the VIP serving bowl that had supposedly poisoned the guests, scooped up a massive portion of the coconut rice, and put it in his mouth. Nneka screamed, "Obinna, no. Don't eat it." Obinna chewed slowly. He swallowed. He wiped his mouth with a silk napkin. "The food is fantastic, my love," he said softly. "As always." Obinna's eyes darted around in utter confusion. What is the meaning of this? Suddenly, the British investor who had been groaning on the floor stopped. He calmly stood up, dusted off his expensive suit, and pulled a hidden earpiece out of his ear. The other two sick delegates did the exact same thing. The heavy doors of the Imperial Dome slammed shut. Dozens of heavily armed DSS operatives stepped out from the shadows, blocking every exit. Obinna walked slowly toward his brother, his presence suffocating the room. "Did you really think," Obinna whispered, his voice echoing through the microphone, "that you could enter my city, breathe my air, and plot against my woman without me knowing, Obinna?" Obinna snapped his fingers. The massive projector screens behind the stage flickered to life. It was crisp, clear 4K hidden camera footage from the VIP lounge in Asakoro from the night before. The audio blasted through the speakers, Obinna's voice. "This is a concentrated purgative, empty this vial into the VIP serving pots." The crowd gasped in horror. The screen split. The second video showed Cheka in the kitchen, pulling down his mask and pouring the liquid. What Cheka didn't know, Obinna declared, was that the moment he stepped out of that kitchen, my security chief swapped his spiked cooler with a fresh one. "You didn't poison my guests, Obinna. You poisoned a dummy pot. And these investors on the floor." Obinna gestured to the British men. "They are undercover agents from the Department of State Services." Obinna's face turned the color of ash. He turned to run, but two massive DSS agents slammed him into the marble floor, locking him in handcuffs. At the back of the hall, Cheka tried to sprint for the service exit, but he was grabbed by the collar and thrown to the ground next to a weeping, terrified Aunt Ngozi. "Take them all," Obinna ordered, his eyes devoid of mercy. "Conspiracy, corporate sabotage, and attempted harm to foreign diplomats. Let them spend the next 15 years thinking about their choices in Cuge prison." As the villains were dragged out kicking and screaming, Obinna walked over to Nneka. He lifted her from the floor, wiping the tears from her eyes, and pulled her into a deep, passionate embrace. The hall erupted into a deafening standing ovation. The enemies were in chains, and the empire was secure. Nneka's catering business received massive contracts from the actual investors, and Obinna closed his $3 billion deal. But as the dust settled that night in the quiet penthouse, Obinna's private phone rang. It was his lead attorney in Lagos. "Chairman," the lawyer's voice trembled with sheer terror. "We have a massive problem." Before Obinna was arrested, he executed a dead man's switch. Obinna's eyes narrowed. "Speak." "It's your late father's hidden will, sir. Obinna legally released it to the board of directors an hour ago. The clause is absolute. If Obinna marries a woman without a royal or billionaire pedigree, he automatically forfeits 80% of his shares in the group. Sir, Obinna bought out the remaining board members this morning. They are invoking the clause. They are voting to strip you of your company at dawn." Obinna lowered the phone. His heart felt like lead. He had won the battle, but Obinna had just launched a nuclear war from a prison cell. To keep his billions, Obinna would have to abandon Nneka. To keep Nneka, he would lose the empire he built with his own blood. And for the first time in his life, the invincible titan of, "Oh my goodness." Just when we thought Nneka and Obinna finally had their happy ending, a massive bomb is dropped. Obinna outsmarted the sabotage, but his own father's will might destroy him. What on earth is Obinna going to do? Will he choose his $8 billion empire? Or will he give up his entire life's work just to marry Nneka? Can Nneka somehow fight a billionaire board of directors? You do not want to miss part 3. It is going to be the ultimate test of love versus power. If your heart was beating fast when Obinna ate that rice, smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you are the first to know when part 3 drops. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. If you were Obinna, would you lose your billions for the love of your life, or would you leave Nneka to save your company? Be honest. Drop your answers below, and let's argue in the comments. See you in the next video. In case you missed the part 1, just search for the untold story of Obinna and Nneka, a billionaire's secret and a woman's fight for dignity.